Here's another one, Mark Benioff, founder of Salesforce and billionaire philanthropist. I don't know how much he's done publicly that you could read, etc. But I will tell you, I spent some time talking to him, and it's obvious when you talk to him, he has figured out the user interface. And I would suggest, and by the way, I'm going to put myself modestly in this camp. People who have spent a lifetime reading and studying and trying to figure out how life works. You know, what are the few things you can do to make something work? So if you read my books, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, you'll learn the basic framework for how I think life works best, where the buttons are. If you read Win Bigly, my book about persuasion, you'll understand the limits of our rational minds, and without that, it's hard to understand how your world works. And my upcoming book, Loserthink, which will be available in November, will tell you some of the greatest mental traps that you should avoid, that almost everybody you see online is falling into. So my only point is that if you were to pay attention to these people who have gone before, and I'll mention them again, Napoleon Hill, Norman Vincent Peale, Donald Trump. Trump, you want to read, The Art of the Deal, and even though he wasn't literally the author, it does capture a big part of his philosophy. Mike Cernovich, James Altucher, Tim Ferriss, Tony Robbins, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, anything in a TED Talk, Naval Ravikant, Mark Benioff. That's not the full list, but those are people who have figured out how stuff works. And if you read those people, you will learn. Now, let me say something that I've been saving this up a little bit. But once you learn the interface for life, the biggest surprise is that things you thought were important are unimportant, and things you thought were unimportant are completely important. And Trump displays that in a way you've never seen before. Let me give you an example. When Trump started communicating in a way that he was running for president, meaning that when he started talking as a candidate, what did people say about him? They said that he was being too simplistic. He repeated himself, and he was leaving out all the details. Now we know that was exactly the right way to communicate, because he connected with people that way. He understood what they wanted, and he fed it back to them in clear, simple, repeatable language. The people who do not understand the user interface for the universe said, hey, this guy must have a fourth grade education, because we don't see people do this. We see people trying to pretend to be smart by using big words and trying to talk about concepts. Why is he not doing that? The reason is that he knows it doesn't work. The thing you thought was most important, sounding like a president, using big words, being intellectual, trying to be respected by everybody, he knew that wasn't important. He did know that connecting with the voters at a very basic level was very important. So he did what was important. Was it luck? Well, his critics would say so. They'd say, well, he blundered into it. But look how many other things he does that are along the same lines. First of all, who understood more than President Trump that the facts didn't matter to our decisions? The facts, of course, matter to the outcomes. And if you have a choice of using good facts or bad facts for making your decisions, use good facts. But who understood that the voters just weren't concerned with facts? Who understood that the way to run a country is to ignore the facts in terms of the details, but to be directionally, let's say, directionally ethical, directionally true? So if he's exaggerating about the danger of something, but he's also doing it to get something done, well, that's directionally ethical, because everybody wanted to get something done. And if using some language and some facts that are a little bit exaggerated or off is how you get there, then the president understood that those details were not important. But getting there was very important. He understands this like nobody ever has.